Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ruffles. In this video I'll be showing you guys how to sew this beautiful bustier dress with yoke. A video of how to cut it is already up on my channel. I'm going to put the link in the description box so you can check my channel if you want to learn how to cut this dress. But today I'll be showing you guys how to sew it from the beginning to the end. If you're seeing this video and you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do well to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up and also feel free to ask your questions in the comment section. Now let's get started. So this is my fabric all cut out. This is the bustier, the front pattern and the back pattern. This is the sleeve, and this is the front pattern of the skirt and the back part of the skirt, and also the ruffles. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is to sew the darts. I'm going to be demarcating the darts. So I'm going to notch those parts, the dart legs. I'm going to notch those parts, and then I'm going to use my needle and thread to demarcate where the dart is going to end, where I'm going to sew the darts. So I'll do that for the back pattern and also the skirts, the front skirt and the back skirts. Now for the bustier, I cut out hair stay and paper stay. So the paper stay is going to be for the lining, while the hair stay is going to be for the fabric. So I'm going to be gumming that to my fabric and my lining. So I did the same thing for this side front. I cut out hair stay and the paper stay. Now to be able to cut out the pad, that's the breast pad I'll be using for this bustier, I'm going to cut out my pattern for the wording. So I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch for this so that it's not going to interrupt the top. So I'm going to come down by 1 inch here, and I'm going to cut that out and cut it on the under bust too. So I'll do the same thing for the side front and come down by 1 inch and connect it with a curve to the under bust and also cut out. Now I'm going to cut it out on my thick wording, and I'm going to be adding ½ inch for allowance. So for the center front, I'll be cutting it on fold. Then I'm going to be adding ½ inch. Then on the upper part and the lower part, you don't need to add any allowance there. So this is the side front, which won't be on fold, but I'm going to be adding the ½ inch for the allowance at the other side. So the next step for this bustier is to take it to your ironing board and then iron the hair stay to the fabric and the paper stay to the wording, or whichever stay you have. So you iron it to the fabric, and then I'm going to iron the wording also to the fabric. So this is it after I've joined the hair stay and the paper stay to the fabric and the lining. So next thing I'm going to do is to join the wording also to the fabric. So it is better for you to gum it to the fabric so that it's going to be secure. So you just go ahead and do that. Now after gumming the wording to the fabric, I'm going to join the bustier together. So this is the side front and the center front. So I'm going to use my pin to pin them together first of all, and then I'm going to join them together on my machine. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the lining too. Now I'm going to show you how you're going to sew the darts on the skirt part. So just for the beginners who are watching this video, in case you have no idea how to do it, so I'm just going to show you now. So I'm going to fold the darts, the parts that I notched, I'm going to fold them together like that and make sure they are on the same line. So the notched parts will be on the same line, so that is ½ inch like that. Then I'm going to just use my ruler to draw a line that is going to connect it into the point. That is the part where we put the thread. So that is how you are going to sew it on your machine. So you make sure as you're sewing from the notched part, it's going to taper down into the part where you put the thread. So I'm going to do it now on the lining so that it's going to be clearer. So you're going to fold it and use your ruler to draw out the line so that by the time you want to sew it on the machine, it's going to be easy for you. So this is how my bustier looks like after joining together and ironing. So you make sure you iron this part so that it's going to look very clean and it's going to be curved. So you use your tailor's arm to iron this part so that the cup is going to protrude very well. So this is how it looks like, and then this is the back. I've already joined the dart, I've already sewn the darts together, and this is the other part of the back. So this is the skirt part. I've already sewn the darts on all sides, so the front skirt and also the back skirt. Now I'm going to move on to the back yoke and the front yoke. So remember we cut out 2 pieces each for this one. So for the back yoke, which is not on fold, we have 4 pieces altogether, while the front yoke, which is on fold, we have 2 pieces. So what we are going to do now is to, we are using one piece as the lining. So this is, we have 2 pieces now, so one is serving as the lining. So I'm going to join the neck of this one, then I'll go ahead to sew this part also with the 0.5 inches that we left as the allowance. So I'm going to do that for both sides of the back yoke. Now for the front yoke, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to sew with 0.5 inches that we left as the allowance on the neck area. So guys, this is how it looks like after sewing together. So you make sure you iron this well so that it's going to come out very smooth. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to attach the yoke to the front and the back pattern. So this is how it is going to be. So I'm going to start pinning this yoke to the back pattern. I'm going to start from the armhole side, so that we are going to know the amount of inches we have left at the zip area. So I'm going to start from the armhole side. So you are meant to have about 1 inch left at the zip area, since that is what we left as the zip allowance. So I'm going to start from here and pin all through to the zip parts. So guys, this is the trick for the yoke to achieve a neat look. So after pinning the yoke to the Ankara fabric, I'm going to use my lining to cover it up. So the front part of the lining will be facing the front part of the fabric. So I'm going to be sewing the 0.5 inches that we left as the allowance on the yoke part. So that is what we are going to. So by the time you turn it over to the other side, it's going to look like this. So it is going to be neat. The lining is going to be covering every part that you've sewn. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side and also for the front pattern. So for this front pattern, I'm going to notch out the midpoint of the bustier. Then the midpoint of the yoke, I'm going to join them together and pin together. Then after doing that, I'm going to continue my pinning from the armhole so that it's going to be equal. So after pinning the midpoint together, I'll go to the armhole and start pinning from there. Then after pinning the yoke together, this is what it's going to look like. And then I'm going to add my lining to it. So the front part of the lining will be facing the front part of the fabric. I'm going to pin it together and take it to the machine to sew. So guys, this is how it looks like after sewing. You can see how neat it's looking. I've already ironed the neck part, so this is how it is looking like. And you also see the back is looking very neat, so it is well covered. You won't see any trace of thread or anything or fabric, so it is covered. And this is how it looks like inside. Then this is the back pattern also. It is also covered at the back. Then this is the zip allowance part. That is the 1 inch that we're going to be using for the zip allowance. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to join the top part to the skirt. So the top and the skirt, I'll join them together, and then I'm going to start pinning this one from the dart part, so that the dart of the skirt and the dart of the top would align together. So I'm going to start pinning from that point. So if you made your darts well from the beginning, you're going to see that it will align together with themselves. So when you want to sew this, you sew the lining part separately and the fabric part separately, so that we are going to achieve a neat finishing at the end of this gown. So you see the way the darts are aligning, that is the way it is meant to be if you did it correctly from the beginning. Then I'm also going to join the lining part separately. So the same thing, you pin from the dart and you join them. Then this is for the back pattern also, the lining part separately and the fabric part separately. So for the ruffles, I'm going to join them together. I cut out 3 parts for these ruffles, so I'm going to join those 3 parts together. So I'm going to have a long length. Then I'm going to tape the hem line of the ruffles, so I'm going to tape it all through to the end like that. So this is how the front part of the gown looks like after joining the top and the skirts together. So you can see how neat it is, and then when you check the back, you also see that it is neat. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to join the ruffles to this front part. So I'm going to start joining the ruffles from the waistline area, and then I'm going to be joining the ruffles on only the fabric. The lining is not going to be part of it, so I'm going to be joining only on the fabric. Then I'm going to mark out 1 inch. So remember we used our seam allowance as 1.5 inches, but I'm going to start joining the ruffles from that 1 inch. So I'm going to mark out 1 inch round and then start joining from that part. So I'm going to make small pleats for these ruffles. So you can see how I'm doing it. I'm starting from the waistline, then you're going to stitch that part very well, and then you start your pleating. So I'm sewing from the 1-inch line that I made. On that line, that is where I'm going to be doing my stitches. Hey guys, if you are still watching this video, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and also feel free to leave your comments. Thank you very much. So when you're about to get to the end, you are going to measure out. I measured out about 7 inches for this because I don't want the ruffles to sweep the floor at all. So I measured about 7 inches and then I cut it out, and I'm going to tape that side so that it's going to be neat, and I'll stitch it back to the fabric. So if you want to start sewing for the other side, you also measure out that 7 inches and then you start sewing from there. So you can see how my ruffles look like. You can see the pleats and you can see the 1 inch that I started sewing from. What I'll do now is to join the shoulders of the front part and the back part together. So the front part of the skirt and the back part of the skirt, I'm going to join the shoulders together. So this is it after joining the shoulders together. The next thing I'm going to do is to join the sides together. So I'm going to be using the 1.5 inches I left as the seam allowance for the side. So for the side, I'm going to be joining fabric separately and the lining separately. So this Ankara fabric will be separate while the lining will be separate, so that we can achieve a neat finishing at the end of the day. So guys, after joining the sides together, I'm going to join the hem line together. So the hem line of the fabric and the hem line of the lining, I'm going to join them together. So the front side will be facing each other. So this is how it should look like. Then I'm going to join it with 0.5 inches allowance. So after joining the hem line together, the next thing I'm going to join is the zip allowance part together. The zip allowance of the Ankara fabric and the zip allowance of the lining, I'm going to be using 0.25 inches to join that together. The reason why we are doing this is because we want to achieve a neat finished look, a neatly finished look. So that is why I'm joining this with 0.25. We have the zip allowance as 1 inch, right? So I'm going to join with 0.25 and we'll have 0.75 left as the zip allowance. So this is how it is after joining the zip allowance together. So we have opening at the armhole side. That is where we are going to be turning the fabric inside out. So you can see how it looks like after turning it inside out. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to fix the zip. Now, so that the fixing of the zip will be neat and accurate, I'm going to pin the midpoint together. Now after doing that, I'm going to measure out 9 inches. So that is like my hip depth. So if your hip depth is 8 inches, you measure out 8 inches. Mine is 9 inches. I'm going to pin it like that. So which means from this 9 inches, that is where I'm going to start my sewing from. Now for the slit part, I'm going to leave about 24 inches for this part. So it depends on how long your skirt is. Because I'm a tall person, this skirt is really long for me, so I'm going to leave 24 inches. You can leave 22, you can leave 19. It depends on your height and how comfortable the slit is going to be on you. So for me, I'm just going to leave 24 inches, and then I'm going to sew from that point to the other points. And then for my zip, I'm going to open up that part and sew the zip on that part. So from the 1 inch allowance, which is now 0.75, that is how you're going to sew the zip, and you also sew the other side. So this is what I have after sewing the zip together. You can see how clean and how neat it is. Now next thing I'm going to do is to sew the slit. So you're just going to sew the slit like that with the 0.75 left. So you sew it and you also sew the other side. Now for my sleeves, I'm going to tape the upper part and the lower part. So the upper part, which is where the rubber is going to be, I'll tape that side, and also the lower part, I'm going to tape that side with 0.5 inches. So this is it after taping, and then I'm going to add this ones to it. So this is just for the design of the sleeves. So I'm going to add this to it. I'm going to pin it on those sides, the side of the sleeve. I'm going to be using 5 inches for it, and I'm going to pin it there and also pin it on the other side. So this is how it's going to be after joining the ropes together when you want to wear the gown, the dress. So this is how the ropes will be tied. And then what I'll do next is to add my elastic rubber. So I'm going to be cutting out about 5 inches for this elastic rubber, or you can cut out 6 inches, so it depends on how free you want it to be. So I'm going to be using 5 inches for mine. And then after cutting it out, I'm going to add it to the sleeves. So you remember the armhole part of the sleeves, that is where you're going to be adding the elastic rubber. Now if you also want to add elastic rubber to the lower part, so it is okay, but for this I'm just going to be adding it to the upper part. So after doing that, I'm going to join the sleeves to my dress. So you start pinning from the midpoint, which is the armhole area. So you pin from the armhole area. Make sure that you are sewing the sleeve the right side facing the right side of the sleeves facing the right side of the fabric. So that is what you're going to do, and then you pin it to the armhole, so that is the midpoint. And then because it is cold shoulder, you also pin from this point of the fabric, and you also do the same thing for the other side. Now after joining the sleeves, because we want it to be a neatly finished dress, I'm going to use my bias tape to turn over the sleeve area. So I'm going to join my bias tape to it like that and then sew it over. So guys, your dress is finished. You can see how it looks like. You can see the armhole area. You don't have any thread showing out. Now for the neck part of the back of the dress, I'm going to be fixing a button to that part. So I'm going to create a loop and fix my button there. So this is everything for the dress. You can see how the front part looks like, and when you turn it over to the back, you see how clean the back also looks like. So guys, this is the end. I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. Thank you very much to all those who have subscribed. I appreciate you guys, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.